thanks for tuning in to For FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Jordan Frazier.
And I'm student meteorologist Margaret Hollis.
It's been an absolutely gorgeous week, and it's only going to get better.
Yep. If you've been enjoying this week, we've got good news for you. It's going to keep the same conditions over the next couple of days.
Yeah, it's actually going to start warming up a little bit tomorrow.
Just a smidge, but not too much.
Not hitting any kind of 90s anytime soon. And
yeah.
This dry air and the wind on top of that makes it feel significantly nicer.
Oh, it's been absolutely wonderful walking between classes the last couple of days.
Even having to bring out the jacket early in the morning because it hits those mid-50s, and if you're from here, I'm not used to those kind of temperatures.
Yeah, North Florida a little bit more so used to it,
yeah.
But even so, I'm still pulling my sweater out as well, walking to my early morning classes.
Yes, indeed, and we do see a little bit of slight bump in rain chances as we head into the weekend, but it's not going to affect the homecoming festivities.
Nothing significant enough to make us worry about rain during the homecoming football game. We're going to have a lot more about all of that over the rest of the show, but for now we're going to send it out to Nicole with the overview.
Thanks, Jordan and Margaret. And WeatherStem is just showing how it started off slightly cloudy, and then we just opened up to clear blue skies by the mid-morning. Currently we're sitting at 84 in Tallahassee, pretty much 80s all around the Big Bend region. Valdosta, you're sitting at 80, Jacksonville at 76. So really comfortable conditions, and satellite and radar is just highlighting how we have had great weather so far, just absolutely clear skies, and it's just going to stick around. This high pressure system that is over the Carolinas is giving us this gorgeous weather. And tonight we're going to see the same beautiful conditions as we have been seeing in the past few days. 61, winds northeast 5 miles per hour, so we got that nice cool breeze going on too. Really gorgeous day. For the rest of your night, it's just going to be still nice conditions, no rain. The highs are going to remain average tomorrow and for the rest of the week. And we are going to be seeing some possible showers, but that's just a very small chance of showers, maybe a pop-up shower or two. So if you're concerned, bring a rain jacket, maybe have an umbrella handy for your school day, but I'm going to put it back to the desk.
Thanks, Nicole. Around here at FSU Weather, we're big weather geeks, so we really like to talk about whatever weather's going on that's interesting across the country and out in the tropics.
Yes.
So we're just going to give a little tease of what I'm going to be talking about later on in the tropics segment with Hurricane Nicole.
Yes, Hurricane Nicole has actually strengthened a lot over the past couple of days. It's now a strong Category 2 hurricane with a pressure about 962 millibars and sustained winds about 110 miles per hour, which is 1 mile per hour away from being a major hurricane in Category 3.
The pressure reading that for viewers at home, that the lower the pressure is, the stronger a storm typically is, and normally, like here in Tallahassee, we'll see pressures above 1,000 millibars, so dropping down to 960 really tells you that it's got that low pressure, and it is strengthening into something serious that people in Bermuda in its path will need to keep an eye on over the next couple of days. But we're going to bring things back locally with John at the wall.
You were talking about the low pressure heading towards Bermuda, but today we are right under a dome of high pressure here in Tallahassee and across the southeast. We had temperatures reach 86 today, and we're down to 84 as those temperatures are beginning to wane down through the evening hours. That lower humidity that we've seen the last couple of days is going to allow those temperatures to drop about 20 degrees over the next 6 to 12 hours as we head towards sunrise tomorrow. Those temperatures are going to be down closer to the 60-degree mark, but those northeast winds are going to keep those temperatures up just a little bit during the overnight hours. This morning we hit about 65 degrees because of those northeast winds, kept some of that warm air down towards the surface. High pressure keeping temperatures across the board into the low to mid 80s right now. Temperatures are going to be quite comfortable if you're heading out to any homecoming festivities tonight, but those winds, keep an eye on those because it could feel a little bit chilly as we head towards the late evening hours or into the early morning hours if you are heading out on the town tonight. Temperatures are keeping those areas into the 80s, but the real story right now is not a whole lot of cloud cover across the southeast. High pressure is parked just towards our north, and that is allowing those northeast winds to come off of the Atlantic, bringing a couple of showers across 95 and towards 75 right now. And over the last couple of days, that's been the story, and those winds are keeping the water right up against the East Coast. So if you're heading out towards the East Coast, keep an eye on those rip currents. Same story here across Franklin County. Rip currents down towards the coast. If you're heading down towards the beaches, be aware of that. The high pressure is going to be stuck here for about the next 2 to 3 days. Going to be bringing in a little bit of drier and cooler air during the overnight hours over the next couple of nights, but there will be a couple of clouds heading across the region over the next couple of days as well, mainly down towards the south. Notice that rain down towards I-4 across central Florida. That is because of those stiff northeasterly winds off of the Atlantic Ocean. Those will not reach us here, but look up towards the north. Notice that cloud cover up there? There's a weak cool front that will be approaching the northern part of the southeast over the next couple of days, but it's not going to reach here because high pressure is going to stay strong across the Florida Big Bend. Those northeast winds will be staying with us over the next couple of days with a couple of passing clouds as well. 61 degrees is where we're heading tonight. A couple of places will be dropping down into the upper 50s tonight, which is about where we should be this time of year. Those northeast winds are going to be the story again for the next couple of days, bringing in a couple of showers towards our south, a couple of clouds here, but those warm temperatures are sticking around. 86 degrees is where we're heading tomorrow, with a little bit of a warm-up on the way as we head into the end of the week. 87 degrees is where we're heading on Friday, and then homecoming looking about a 10% chance of rain, but about a 90% chance of winning this game against Wake Forest this weekend, and then heading up on the rain chances just a smidge on Sunday, but nothing that's going to wreck your plans. But if you're heading down towards the coast, watch out for those rip currents down at the Franklin County beaches. But what we're not watching right now are the tropics, and that's where we're going to hand it off to Margaret.
Thanks, John. Yep, we're going to take things out to our tropical update. Across the Atlantic Ocean, we do expect storms to be forming in the western Caribbean in towards the Gulf of Mexico, and then to make their way further north, either towards the northeast or then on out to sea, where they become no threat to anyone besides the passing ship. And out in the Pacific, though, we do have 2 disturbances. There is this one small disturbance here that's got a 10% chance of formation, and then another one closer to Mexico that has a 40% chance of formation, but these storms are all moving away from land and shouldn't pose too much of a threat. Meanwhile, here in the Atlantic, we're going to take a look back at the storms we've had this year. We started off the year back in January, which is a little bit unusual for an Atlantic hurricane season, with Hurricane Alex. From there, we continued along through the list, going through these storms. Hermine made it up to a Category 1 hurricane, making landfall here. And now we're looking at Hurricane Nicole, a Category 2 storm out in the Atlantic, which is setting its sights on Bermuda. Our water vapor map here, just to give you an idea of the setup, it's dry air over the Gulf. All this orange coloration is dry air, so it's very quiet over the Gulf. No formation happening there. Hurricane Nicole, meanwhile, has a lot of moisture associated with it. All these green colors here spinning away over the Atlantic Ocean. A lot of moisture associated there. On the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, Hurricane Nicole is a Category 2 storm, which has winds of up to 110 miles per hour, which is the current intensity of Hurricane Nicole associated with it. And that does cause moderate storm surge and wind damage to structures along the coast, or in the case of Bermuda, across the island. A Category 3 storm, which is what it's expected to strengthen into over the next couple of hours through tonight, has winds of at least 111 miles an hour up to 130 miles an hour, and that can cause more significant damage with the storm surge and flooding. Coming into the forecast cone here, Hurricane Nicole, again, is expected to strengthen into a major hurricane, thus the M on the forecast track there for later this evening, and then expected to pass either over or near Bermuda tomorrow before heading out to the sea, where it will be no threat to anybody else. But now we're going to send it back to the desk with Lexi.
All right, thank you so much, Margaret, for our tropical update. Nicole, looks like it's going to be a big storm for the Bermuda, and another storm we've been talking about past couple weeks, Hurricane Matthew. Well, you have probably been wondering what kind of a relief have we been doing to help the victims of this storm. Well, I just read up today, and apparently the IRS is actually extending the deadline for next year's taxes for a number of counties and victims that were affected. So if you go ahead and look up your county, you may have an extension for your taxes next year. So that's really nice of them. Also, another organization called Samaritan's Purse, which is an international relief,
is sending tons of help to the victims of Haiti and the Caribbean. They're sending tons of blankets and hygiene kits and even some water filters because they don't really have the cleanest water right now, so we're happy to see that. But if you do want to donate, please feel free to look up Hurricane Matthew Relief, and a lot of websites are allowing donations such as UNICEF. Samaritan's Purse is also doing some. So just go ahead and donate a couple dollars, maybe a few. I mean, a lot of people need it, especially the victims in Haiti. You know, they pretty much just got ran over by the storm at a Category 5. And we were lucky to get hit only by Category 4 and 3. But, you know, with all the flooding and everything, we do need to get back up on our feet. And, of course, American Red Cross is still having shelters open for victims who have lost their homes. But for now, let's send it out to Jordan with a look at the Southeast.
Thanks so much, Lexi. As they are recovering, it does seem to be rather nice across the majority of the Southeast, which is a significant relief due to that. We're sitting about 84 degrees currently here in Tallahassee, and much of the eastern seaboard is actually seeming rather nice temperatures for this time of year. Seems like a little bit of fall's coming in. 77 in Orlando, 76 in Savannah. The cold spot being Wilmington, up at about 74 degrees. But as you head over out west, it gets a little bit warmer. New Orleans sitting about 87, and even Shreveport seeing a little bit hot over by about 88 degrees. Current relative humidity, that is a measure of the moisture in the atmosphere. We're under a little bit of a dry spell right now, which is I'm glad to say that, because it is a significant relief over what we've had the past couple weeks or so. 48% in Tallahassee. Montgomery, nice and dry, about 26%, and 24% up in Tupelo. South Florida, they are experiencing a couple of sea breeze storms, so the relative humidity is a little bit higher. 77 Orlando and 67 down in Miami. Current winds right now, we do have that clockwise flow from the high pressure system, bringing winds from the northeast. 7 miles per hour out of Tallahassee right now, 9 in Orlando, and 13 in Savannah. So it does cool us off a little bit and make it seem like a rather nice day. Satellite radar, a couple pop-up showers along the eastern seaboard of Florida and even parts of Georgia. That is to be expected this time of year. And right behind me, you do see parts of Nicole popping her eye through, and even some of the outer rain bands. But we're sitting under very nice, calm conditions right now. Here, looks like, I'm going to show you these watches and warnings, but it does look like a coloring book out here. Let's break it down. This light purple is representative of small craft advisories. So if you do have any family out there, be sure to tell them not to go swimming. We also have rip current warnings too along much of the East Coast. And all these little green blotches here and there, those are flood warnings, and that is because they have had a significant amount of flooding in the Carolinas, and those rivers are starting to flood a little bit more. Futurecast radar, much of the same story for the next couple of days. A couple of showers here and there along the eastern seaboard, especially by southern and central Florida. Keep that into motion for you. Tonight's forecast looking a little bit warmer than we have. 61 degrees in Tallahassee, 50 in Montgomery. But heading into tomorrow, it looks to be actually heating up a little bit. 88 degrees in Tallahassee, but nice sunny skies throughout the majority of the southeast. Let's go ahead and take it over to Lexi with a look at outdoors and events all around.
All right, thank you so much, Jordan. Well, right now, our weather stem, we're looking at Wake Forest University. Now, right now, especially this week, that's enemy territory, so we're getting a look at what's going on over there. So yesterday, they had a high of 68, and today's high was actually 71, so it was a little bit warmer. But like we mentioned, they do have a high pressure that's keeping those pretty skies clear, like hardly any clouds in the sky, and look how beautiful that is. I mean, we've had the same kind of skies as well, so it's nice to see beautiful weather as we have seen in the last couple of days. So if you're in the mood for golf, it's going to be a nice day for golf. Golf index is at 4, mostly sunny skies, maybe heat up a little bit, but you will have a nice wind coming out of the northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow is also looking like a nice day for the boat. You'll have a nice wind coming out of the northeast at 10 to 15 knots, maybe a little light chop at 2 to 3 feet, but mostly sunny conditions. So if you don't have any plans for the afternoon tomorrow, go ahead and take your boat out and just enjoy yourself. So here's the big forecast we're talking about. This weekend, it's FSU versus Wake Forest. It is our homecoming game. The game will be at 3:30 in Doak Campbell Stadium. Temperature is expected to be 84 degrees with some clouds in the sky. So it's going to be looking like a very nice game. So wear that garnet and gold and go out and support your Seminoles. So here's some homecoming headlines you might want to check out. Tonight, we have War Chant featuring Chance the Rapper tonight at 8 o'clock. This will be at Perfect Commute to the Civic Center. And then Friday we have homecoming. The homecoming parade will begin at 2 o'clock this Friday at Westcott, and our classes do get out at 1 p.m. So go ahead and catch it. And of course, Friday we have our powwow with Whitney Cummings. So here's our 5-day outlook. Our highs will be sitting pretty in the upper 80s, and our lows in the lower 60s to upper 50s. But Margaret, take it away with the national.
Thanks, Lexi. That 5-day forecast looks absolutely gorgeous. Meanwhile, across the rest of the country, zooming things out here, we're looking at some reasonably warm temperatures here across the southeast, 84 in Tallahassee, getting a bit warmer as you get to Texas, 88 in San Antonio, and even warmer still, Phoenix at 92. But then as we look north, we're seeing much cooler temperatures, with Minneapolis sitting at what, to those of us from Florida, feels like a very frigid 45 degrees. Dew points at the same time here. We're looking at humid dew points, a lot of these green colors here across the southeast. But take your eyes north and west. Minneapolis at a dew point of 30 degrees, meaning that the air is very dry. Everywhere that you see all these brown colorings, there's very dry air there. And when you see that big temperature difference, the dew points, and then the temperature change here, they've dropped 33 degrees since yesterday's temperature at this time in Denver. That when you see these big differences in the dew point, the temperature, and then the temperature change since yesterday, we as meteorologists start to ask, well, where's the cold front? And here's that cold front. It's got a bunch of storms right out ahead of it. And so this cold front here, right behind it, we've got lots of cold air and high pressure, clear skies, dropping all the temperatures across the Plains states and into the Rockies towards Billings and the other cities across the Rockies. Meanwhile, here in the southeast, we also have a high-pressure system that's sitting out ahead of this cold front that's keeping our skies clear, letting it cool off at night, and keeping things overall feeling very nice. Watches, warnings, and advisories across the country. All of these blues are to do with very cold temperatures, frost, and the like. Meanwhile, out west, we have a lot of wind advisories and fire advisories out there. They have very warm, very dry conditions, and that makes it very dangerous for fire. Out across the Pacific coast, we do have storm and gale warnings out there. Meanwhile, here in the southeast, more wind advisories and the rip current risk down along the Florida coastline to keep an eye on there. Those flash flooding advisories for the Carolinas. We do have that Midwest cold front here, taking a zoomed in look at it. It does have some stronger storms associated with it that are dumping a lot of rain, but not causing any airport delays. We see a whole bunch of zeros across the board for the airport delays. Tonight, we're looking at a low of around 61 here in Tallahassee. We are cooling off nicely. Meanwhile, as you look further north, it's already starting to feel like winter. 33 is the forecast low for tonight in Minneapolis. Tomorrow, though, it's going to warm up. Forecast high of 58 for Minneapolis, 88 here in Tallahassee. So we are warming up from what we've been seeing over the last couple days, but we are still not breaking 90 here in Tallahassee. But now I'm going to throw it back to the desk with Jordan.
Thanks so much, Margaret. I'm going to start talking about some weather history. So what exactly happened back today, back in history? So let's see. In 1987, Hurricane Floyd, the only hurricane to make it landfall the entire season, lucky for them, actually moved across the Florida Keys. It produced wind gusts up to about 59 miles per hour at Duck Key and about 9 inches of rain through much of southwest Florida, which does not seem like the most ideal situation, kind of similar to what we've been experiencing with Hurricane Matthew. Also, in 1962, this was called the Columbus Day Big Blow. It occurred in the Pacific Northwest, and it was probably one of the most damaging windstorms on record west of the Cascade Mountains. The winds reached about hurricane force, with gusts up to about 100 miles per hour, and more than 3.5 billion board feet of timber were blown down, and communications were disrupted due to downed power lines. The storm claimed about 48 lives and caused $210 million worth of damage, so sad to hear that. 20 cities back in 1988 reached in the upper Midwest, reported record low temperatures, reading about 17 degrees, and even some places in Minnesota, a morning low of about 8 degrees, which is really abnormal for this time of year. But for now, let's go ahead and look at some more realistic temperatures for this time of year with the Around Florida with Margaret.
Temperatures are definitely looking very seasonable, starting to get those tastes of fall across Florida. 84 degrees here in Tallahassee as well as in Pensacola. They're seeing a bit more sun than we are, but still nice temperatures. Meanwhile, Jacksonville at 75 degrees. And then across the rest of the peninsula, we're hovering between the mid-70s and low 80s, from that 77 in Orlando to 84 degrees in Tampa. Overall, it's really nice across the entire state, getting that taste of fall. Still a little bit humid outside. We are seeing dew points ranging from the 60s up into the 70s, getting down to 56 in Pensacola. Not much drier air there, but overall our dew points still a little bit on the muggy side, but they are starting to drop off as we are getting more of that fall weather, which is, at least for those of us that enjoy fall and cooler temperatures, it is quite exciting to have that. The dew point and the temperature, when those combine, they give us the heat index, which is what it feels like. And it's really not much of a factor across the state until you start looking down towards Miami and Key West. Miami with a heat index of 86 degrees, Key West up at 91. But take a look at heat indices up across the I-10 corridor, 78 in Jacksonville, 85 in Tallahassee, 84 in Pensacola. Those all still feel great. Upper level water vapors. We are seeing mostly clear skies across North Florida. We are still getting some passing clouds, but nothing too major. And we've got dry air at upper levels of the atmosphere to go with that. Meanwhile, South Florida's been getting in on some showers. They've got a little bit more moisture in the air. Our winds are largely being driven by that high pressure further off to the north, bringing winds around clockwise direction. So we're getting cool, dry air coming in from the north. Meanwhile, the Florida Peninsula is getting a little bit more moist Atlantic air, fueling some sea breeze thunderstorms. Those spots of green here on the radar up and down the peninsula, those are all being fueled by the winds. Again, here we just got the passing clouds, nothing too much to worry about. Futurecast radar for the next couple days, we put this into motion. We are still expecting to have that same setup, the scattered showers and storms across much of south and central Florida. Meanwhile, staying clear across the Florida Peninsula. But these storms are not going to be anything too major, a light sprinkling to water your lawn. Nothing too much to worry about there. Again, just those light showers and storms. Tonight, we're looking at dropping down to around 61 here in Tallahassee. Similar temperatures across North Florida, 60 in Jacksonville, 63 in Pensacola. Still warmer down to the south, getting up more into the 70s for the overnight lows. And for tomorrow, sunny skies across the I-10 corridor, 86 in Pensacola, 88 here in Tallahassee. Little bit more clouds with those storms down towards the south, but those temperatures are still looking great. I'm going to send it back to the desk with Lexi and John now.
Even though Hurricane Matthew was last week, weather is still hampering some of the relief efforts in North Carolina and along the East Coast.
Oh yeah, they're still seeing a lot of flooding, and I know they're working on rescuing people from those low-level flood as the floodwaters keep continuing to drain.
A lot of those floodwaters fell, or the rainwater fell in the western parts of North Carolina, and it's going to take about a week to 10 days until all of that water gets back to the Atlantic.
I know people just want to get home, but please put your safety first. Don't try and get home to your houses or to get anything. Just stay away from those waters.
Yeah, and if you live at the coast, if you're still evacuated, it's not a good idea to come back there.
No,
those northeasterly winds are blowing that water right up against the coast, and there's a whole lot less beach now than there was a week ago.
Oh yeah, it's still a very dangerous situation, so please just be careful. But for now, let's send it out to Nicole with the last look at the local.
Thanks, Lexi and John. And the local temperatures are at 84 degrees right now, and the low is a little bit higher than we normally see around this time of year. Usually it's at 59 degrees on average, so slightly warm, but either way, it's still such a nice change from the really hot temperatures that we were seeing just a few weeks ago. Basically just gonna stay that way for the rest of the week. And the current temperatures are pretty much the same all across the board, except with Monticello and Bainbridge at 79, pretty much lower 80s all across the Big Bend region. The current dew point is sitting at 62 and in Tallahassee, 65 in St. Mark's, and basically that just means that it's still pretty dry, and that's because of a high pressure system that's sitting in the Carolinas. This graphic just shows how dry it's been and how little cloud coverage we've been having during the day in the Big Bend. Other than Jacksonville and some pop-up showers down in Central Florida, it's just been pretty dry all across the board. Futurecast is showing that we are getting these winds from the north, and that's bringing in those cool breezes. Just so nice when you're sitting out on Landis or just chilling outside. Just absolutely lovely. And those breezes are going to stick around for a few days too because of that high pressure system. And it's also just going to come also from the east as well in the next few days. Tonight we're going to be sitting at a nice comfortable 60s. Might see some dipping down into the high 50s in some parts of the region, but overall mostly clear skies, maybe a couple of clouds here and there. And tomorrow it's going to warm up just a tad. Still not going to get to the 90s, thankfully, but we'll be seeing high 80s. So for tomorrow, go out for a run. It's just lovely weather for that. Won't be seeing any showers or anything in the morning. And then we're going to warm up to 81 by the middle of the day, and the night's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So for the week ahead, like I was saying, we're just going to have 7 days of sunny 7 days, and we're just going to have the same consistent dry weather. Might see a pop-up shower and clouds for the game day and the rest of the weekend, but overall, just very beautiful weather, not too cold, not too hot, just right. So I'm going to send it back to Lexi and John for the last desk.
7 sunny days. That's actually quite a tongue twister.
Yeah, and let me tell you, there's going to be a lot of people getting tongue-twisted this week, screaming all that war chant out this week. It's homecoming week. It's going to be a loud week here on campus. Looks
like it's going to be a beautiful game, too. Only 10% chance of rain right now, so maybe the clouds will provide us cover, but hopefully the rain will stay away. Yeah, it's always nice that these games in the fall can always be quite hot in the stadium, running about 5 to 10 degrees inside the stadium compared to outside, so those clouds are definitely welcome. Yeah, but it looks like our temperatures for next week as well, we'll be seeing in the upper 70s, lows pretty much in the mid to lower 60s. Yeah, high pressure is staying in control, and I'm thankful for it. It's a little bit warmer. We're getting to that time of year where it's starting to get cool. I know, it's starting to look beautiful, but if you like us on Facebook, facebook.com/FSU Weather. We're also on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU Weather. And if you just love watching our beautiful faces and lovely voices, watch us anytime on livestream.com/FSU Weather. And of course, we can't forget our Instagram. Send us pretty pictures of weather. We love seeing all those pretty clouds in the sky. Absolutely, and there will be plenty of spectacles to see this week. If you're heading to the parade, feel free to send us a picture of that and the game as well this weekend. Yeah, we will premiere it on the show. But for now, I'm student meteorologist Lexi Birmingham. And I'm meteorologist Jonathan Bellis. Have a great night, Florida, and go Noles.